welcome you all here today to our interview event. I'd like to welcome you all here today. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here today. It's the regional group of the Institute of Structural Engineers, our end-of-year event. So we just have about an hour of presentations and awarding, and you have to wait till about 8:30 or so to avail of the buffet meal that will be ready. I want to start by introducing two special guests today. The current president of the Institute of Structural Engineers, joining us, and also Mark Powell, the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Structural Engineers. So thank you very much, Jane and Mark, for joining us.
But when Becca assigned this to analyze, I didn't really realize that this would be predominantly filled with men. And when I realized, I asked myself, what am I going to talk about? So I was a bit confused, and I asked my team what they would like to hear about my team is about structure. And silence. Except one person that told me, you can talk about challenges and keep it light. So I decided to bounce the topic to life. Let's talk about something else. So I decided to go through the data set and look at the gender diversity in the institution. So tonight we're going to look at data.
Thank you for attending our event tonight, and it's a great pleasure to have Jane and Mark remarkable success rate this year. So looking back at Julia statistics, I guess we can clearly see the greater increase in female students and graduates as compared to professional members, which is a good story to tell and a positive sign. An increase from around about 10% in 2008 of female students up to 26.5% in 2021. So this is a great step. And despite the small increase in professional grades, we believe that this is going to pick up as more student cohort move into the professional qualifications throughout the different stages. So that's all good. However, it's important that we support our female students as they move towards professional chartership and so on. And this is, we all know how challenging the route is, especially when we add family and kids and full-time job to the mix. It becomes really challenging. We believe that a 10-year is what needs to roughly move from a student member all the way towards training and experience, which means that in 10 years we hope that our numbers will show a good increase. So what are we doing in the institution to help support this and how?
And thank you so much to Declan and all of the committee for inviting myself and Martin here this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure to come to Dubai. I've not been here before, and it's just been brilliant. The events that have been laid on, the visits so far, and the meetings all been extremely interesting. And I think tomorrow we've got a site visit as well, which I'm looking forward to. Now, you obviously got a very active committee, looking at all the things you've got going on, that you had on the screen right at the start. It's very impressive. And all of the CPD that you're providing. I think I'm going to try and join your YouTube group. Some things that I would certainly be interested in attending myself. It was just something that I just jotted down here. I'm going to say it now in case I forget it later. But when Anand said about the thanking male engineers for supporting through a career, it's so important to have that support, whether you're male or female, just that support from older engineers. And it's actually so rare to hear female engineers thanking their male peers. So I reiterate that. And I think it's good that rather than just saying women have got a tough time, which I haven't always a tough time, it is important to recognise that everybody helps along the way for any young graduate. So I've now started the final month of my presidency, which feels very strange. It's gone by really quickly. At the start of the year I had some great ideas. I was going to get to visit every regional group in the UK. I wanted to either visit or have a Zoom meeting with all of the non-UK groups. I've managed to get to very nearly all of the UK groups. I've still got 2 to do next week when I get back. And I think there's one which I couldn't do due to that massive body that's been going around the world. But other than that, I've actually managed all of those. I was very fortunate to get a visit out to the Caribbean earlier in the year. It's quite tough to have to go and visit somewhere warm, but I managed to have Caribbean, South Africa, and UAE. I think it's all fallen in place very nicely for me. So I'd say that that's actually worked quite well, the aspirations of visiting. I also, as a key theme for the year, wanted to encourage people to adopt the idea of reusing buildings. I know it was beginning to happen. It has been happening for quite a while, but it's an area that I work in. My work is all with historical buildings, and so coming here has been actually quite amazing seeing all of these new buildings. It's wonderful to see the engineering that goes into them. But I did wonder what would happen through the year, whether I'd actually see any difference in the attitudes towards reuse, refurbishment, extension. And I think it has changed. I'm not going to take credit for it. I think it's that people are beginning to really understand that we do need to do some more of this reuse rather than all knocking down and rebuilding. But something which was very interesting in our week in South Africa last week was actually understanding that in order to reuse a building, you really need it to be maintained first of all. And that really came home very strongly in a lot of the people I spoke to. So I see all these amazing buildings we've got here, and I do hope that it's going to be possible for those to be maintained so they can continue to be used for many, many decades going forwards. Now, there's also an aspect which was in the back of my mind when I wrote my inaugural address, which was well over a year ago, about 18 months ago I started. And in fact, I didn't start it then. I started jotting notes for it a year before that. But as you will have appreciated, we invited our 100th president, Don Quillen, to serve the second year because he'd been in lockdown for all of his year, which seemed pretty tough really. It turned out he actually had a fair bit of lockdown continued through into the second year. But it gave me 2 years to think about what I was going to say, or a year longer than I expected. And it really came to my mind that what we needed to do is to share knowledge from, not just from those of us with grey hair teaching young people, but the other way around. And it hadn't really formulated in my mind completely when I started this journey. But over this last 11 months, it's come through as a stronger and stronger aspect that we've got so many people with so much knowledge. There's a lot you can pick up from books, from papers. Be wary of the internet. You need to be sure about the source before you go down that road. There's a lot that needs to come out of people's heads as well, particularly if we're going to be reusing buildings. But at the same time, our young engineers have got a huge amount of knowledge that some of us who are more experienced in our careers haven't got. They know more about sustainability, they know more about the environment. So somehow we need to actually get information from them. But when you think about it, and I assume it's going to be the same here as elsewhere in the world, when you're a little bit older and you can't get your TV controller to work, or you can't do something on your mobile phone, who do you ask? It's a young person, isn't it? So why the heck are we not asking young people about knowledge that they're more current with than we are? So I think we've really got to go on and do that. I think one of the things that I'm really puzzled with before I set out on the essential route was how was I going to balance work, because I do still have a day job, the institution work, which actually has had more input than my day job over this year, and life. How do you keep up with your family and friends? It's quite a balance to achieve. So I'm actually extremely grateful to people around me, whether it's the institution staff, for the tremendous support that they've given, from Martin all the way down to all the other members of staff, receptionists when I go into the headquarters building, always make sure that I know whatever I need to know when I'm going on that day. It's been a great welcome. And there's some people I work with, they've been incredibly tolerant. Family and friends definitely put up with them being pushed to one side for the year. And then it's the members in all regional groups who I've come to visit, whether that's been virtual visits or face-to-face. It's been absolutely superb to come out and meet people and to get that support. And one of the best days, I mean, 2 particularly good days in London. One of them was the People in Papers lunch, which is every year. And this year we actually had two people from this regional group, Gosha Kaur and Angelo, who both received Lifetime Achievement Awards, which basically is a thank you, it's recognising the work that they've done for the institution over a whole lifetime of involvement. The other great event was the IStructE Awards, which was superb. If anybody hasn't seen any of it, do go onto the website and look at the video clips that are on there. So really it is so much about people. It's about people, it's about seeing what people are doing and the way things are moving forward. It has been a fantastic year, and so just welcome all that support from home, from visits like this. And again, thank you to the group for welcoming us here, and very much for all the work that you do here in the UAE. It really is appreciated. I'm sure Martin will say the same, that from headquarters team and people in the UK, people who attend council, we really appreciate the input that you guys have. So So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. It really is a great thrill to be here. After this last 2 or 3 years of not being able to move around, I guess it's been the same for you, restrictions on what you could need to do here within the region. It's so important, I think, that we're together again. Can I first of all acknowledge all our members that are in this room for the sheer energy you put into in your profession and into the institution. But a genuine, a big sincere thank you to all our speakers, sponsors, supporters, those who work with our members to put on these fantastic events, programs of support to structural engineers. And thirdly, to our regional committee for, wow, you punch so much above the weight of your numbers. And when you look at those slides earlier on, not just at what you do for the institution committee, but the tentacles you have into so many other activities, green building, council, university boards, and so many other things. It really is fabulous, and I think it's one thing that we echo across the institution world, how energetic our members are. But there's a common theme that I think binds us together, whether we're a member, speaker, sponsor, regional committee, and that is because as a professional body we have two main things. There's only two things you take away remembering about this institution. It's that commitment to competency, and it's the commitment to community, the working together, the learning and sharing. Because at the end of the day, the competency, the responsibility as structural engineers you have for the safety of your environment that we work in is what it's all about. And it's joyous to celebrate on evenings like this, but also to remember the very real importance of why we do it. And you know, I think it's a fairly remarkable organisation that can, I won't use the word boast of, but celebrate 33,000 members around the world, practising in over 120 countries. And yet we only have one office based in the UK, and that's where all the institution's staff are based. Now, there's not too many organisations that can operate worldwide on that sort of formula, and we do it because of the contribution of members putting back in to support each other, to coach, to mentor, to share knowledge and practice. And having travelled up here from Jane and I were in South Africa last week, and seeing the connectivity there between our members, wherever they are in the north of the country or the south of the country, sharing the same passions. On Monday, we're joining our Australian regional group for their AGM. It really is a worldwide network, and I think that's what collectively we have to carry on working. Many of the sponsoring organisations that are giving presentations like themselves are international bodies. And what we like to think that we bring to this whole party is the ability to bring people together from across the world and make sure that we're learning from the successes, the errors, all the things that we can do to improve what you do. So, I think it's a remarkable organisation. I'm so proud to be part of it. What I really wanted to do, perhaps, is just for a few moments reflect on how this region has developed since I first came into contact with it in 2009. At that point, we didn't have a formal regional group. We had a collection of members who for a number of years have been talking, as we did, sharing with other professional bodies from the UK in particular. And that decision to actually say, can we create a critical mass of structural engineers to form a regional group in our own right? And he did. In 2009 we had something like 250 members, of which about 100 were students and graduates. That's hardly a critical mass, it's a good start. The responsibility that we have at HQ is this combined joint offering of what we can provide from head office and what members can do to support the networks we create. And so our ambition has been to steadily grow the influence of all our regional groups to support not only their members, but the other parts of the professions that we work with in engineering and the built environment. So, my congratulations to all of you through your tenacity over the last 12, 13 years. You've developed that critical mass by working so hard to engage with students, with graduates. Your outreach activity has been fantastic. Balancing the bit between getting together, the important bit of getting together, and certainly accelerating through the catalyst of the pandemic, bringing on digital communications or YouTube channels. And so by embracing that technology, we really are passing on the baton. So that today, we now have not 50% of our members as graduates and students, but 75%. And we have increased the numbers. And that, I think, is something that actually totally changes the dynamics of what you as a regional group are now compelled to do, is to support a new generation of engineers in attaining their professional development and qualification, and supporting, again, the growth of the critical mass. Who knows where that can take us. But the UAE regional group, as we've seen, has really played a part, not only here in the region, but you really have thrown your weight behind supporting the institutions, the body corporate. And we've all benefited from having representatives from this region on council, on the board. Mohammed Al-Thar is a vice president on the board. John Rice has been there, an everlasting presence over the last few years, and please send him our best. So he's not with us this evening. With Ivana and Julia coming on to council, we all benefit from you being part of that worldwide family. So really, I suppose, as I round up, it's to say, keep supporting each other and serving each other and learning from each other. Continue to develop that critical mass, because knows where that can take us. I've talked a lot to people this evening about the impact of Saudi Arabia and all the other Gulf states. That there's so much going on that we can really use as a nucleus to grow the institution and the support that we bring to society through well-trained structural engineers. I think this is likely to be my last official visit here. I leave the institution at the end of March next year. So I would like to thank all of you for your friendship during the time that I've been coming here, because I've learned a phenomenal amount from you too. And I wish the regional group and all of you every success into the future. Thank you very much.
been like a great support for all of us. He knows the rules and regulations, the constitution and everything more than all of us. So we're very grateful, and he gives a big call today, but he couldn't not feeling too well. Hopefully we will see him soon. And he's also stepping down from the committee for a year, and then he will join hopefully soon. So that's more gift for John, but we just thought we'd say a few words